12-year-old Marcus Moretti had never been a fan of change. Moving from one city to another was never easy for him, but this time it felt even harder. His family was starting fresh in a new place, a city far from their old life. But this move wasn't just about a new house or a new school. Marcus was not like the other kids. He was different in many ways, and those differences made him nervous. Marcus was adopted by Lorenzo Moretti, a man known to few and respected, or feared, by many. Lorenzo was a powerful man connected to the Mafia, but he loved Marcus more than anything in the world. He wanted his son to live a normal life, far away from the dangerous world he belonged to. So when Marcus started at the prestigious private school in this new city, Lorenzo hoped his son could blend in, stay safe, and just be a kid. But Marcus was black, and the city, especially this school, was not used to someone like him. Most students at the school came from rich, old families. They were mostly white, and their lives were filled with money, parties, and privilege. Marcus was different, not just because of his skin color, but because of how quietly he carried himself, and how little he showed about his life at home. He didn't brag, didn't flaunt, and didn't fit in with the loud crowd. On the first day, Marcus walked through the school gates with his head held low, trying not to draw attention. His clothes were simple, not expensive like the others. His backpack was plain, and he kept his eyes on the ground more than on the faces around him. Inside, his heart was pounding. He wanted to disappear, to be invisible, but that was impossible. From the moment he stepped into the classroom, a group of boys noticed him. They whispered among themselves, exchanged looks, and soon one of them, a tall boy with a sneer, approached Marcus. His name was Chase, and he was the kind of kid who always got what he wanted because of who his parents were. Chase had grown up thinking the world belonged to him, and anyone different was an easy target. Chase and his friends started teasing Marcus right away. At first it was small things, laughing at how Marcus talked, making jokes about his hair and asking if he even belonged in such a fancy school. Marcus tried to ignore them, remembering what his father had told him many times. Stay quiet, stay out of trouble, and don't let anyone know who you really are. But the bullying didn't stop. It grew louder and more personal. The other students watched but didn't say much. Some were scared of Chase and his group. Others simply didn't want to get involved. Marcus felt more alone than ever. During lunch breaks, he sat by himself under a tree, watching other kids laugh and talk in groups. He wanted to join, but he didn't know how. He was different, and he could feel it every second of every day. At home, things were quieter. Lorenzo and his wife, Rosa, noticed Marcus's mood changing. He used to be full of stories and jokes, but now he was silent and withdrawn. Lorenzo was a man who didn't show his feelings easily, but inside, he worried deeply for his son. He knew how dangerous the world could be for Marcus, especially with his skin color and their family background. But Marcus never spoke about. The school never complained. He wanted to protect his family and keep their secrets safe. One evening, Rosa tried to reach out. She gently asked Marcus about his day, hoping to hear something positive. Marcus shrugged and said it was fine. Rosa didn't push but kept watching him closely. She knew her son was strong, but even the strongest needed help sometimes. The bullying continued. Chase's group started following Marcus between classes, blocking his way in the hallways, calling him names, and throwing papers at him. It wasn't just about being different anymore. It was about power. Chase wanted to prove he was the king of the school, and Marcus was the easiest way to do that. Despite everything, Marcus kept his head up in class. He worked hard on his lessons, hoping to show that he was just as good, if not better, than anyone else. He spent hours reading books and practicing math problems at night. School was his refuge, the one place where he could try to build a future different from his father's shadow. One day Marcus met Lily. She was a quiet girl with big glasses and a gentle smile. Unlike the others, she didn't ignore Marcus or laugh at him. Instead, she sat next to him in the library and started talking about the books they both liked. Lily didn't ask about his family or where he came from. She just wanted to be friends. For Marcus, this small kindness was like a light in the dark. Lily noticed the bruises Marcus tried to hide and the sadness behind his eyes. She never pushed him but made sure he knew she was there if he needed someone. Marcus started to feel a tiny bit stronger. Maybe he wasn't completely alone after all. But school wasn't safe. One afternoon, Marcus was cornered near the lockers by Chase and his friends. They shoved him, grabbed his backpack, and threw his books on the floor. Marcus wanted to fight back, but he remembered his father's words. "Don't bring danger to yourself or our family." So he stayed quiet, took the pain, and walked away. When Marcus finally got home, he washed the dirt and tears from his face, hiding the bruises with his sleeves. He didn't want his parents to worry more than they already did. But that night, as he lay in bed, his thoughts raced. Why did they treat him this way? Was it just because of how he looked? Did he really belong here? Lorenzo sat in his study, looking out the window at the dark street. He thought about his son, about the life he wanted to protect him from, and about the ugly reality Marcus faced every day. Lorenzo knew the world was not fair, especially for someone like Marcus. But he also knew one thing. Marcus was strong, smarter than most, and had a fire inside that wouldn't be put out easily. The next morning, Marcus woke up determined to face the day again. He dressed carefully, making sure his clothes were neat. He told himself that this was just the beginning. He didn't know what the future held, but he would keep going, step by step, even if it was hard. As Marcus walked to school that day, he saw Chase and his friends waiting. They smiled, but this time Marcus didn't look away. He held his head high and walked straight past them, feeling something new, a quiet courage growing inside him. It was small, but it was there. The school day went on, and Marcus kept his focus. He answered questions in class, helped others with homework, and even smiled at Lily when she passed by. It wasn't much, but it was a start. That night, Marcus told his parents a little more about his day. He didn't mention the bullying directly, but he shared about Lily and how she made him feel less alone. Lorenzo and Rosa listened carefully and promised to support him no matter what. Marcus knew he had a long road ahead. The school was a tough place, and the boys who bullied him wouldn't stop easily. But with his family's love and a few friends like Lily, he felt ready to face whatever came next. He might be different, and the world might be unfair, but Marcus Moretti was not going to give up. And deep inside, he dreamed of a day when he would be accepted for who he was. A boy with a strong heart, a sharp mind, and a family that loved him more than anything. After a few weeks at the new school, Marcus Moretti's life became harder. The bullying that started as small insults and teasing turned into something worse. It wasn't just about words anymore. It was about fear, pain, and loneliness. Marcus had tried to ignore the bullies, to stay quiet and stay out of trouble. But the boys, especially Chase and his group, wouldn't let him be. Every day, Marcus felt like the walls of the school were closing in on him. He didn't know what he had done wrong to deserve this. He was just a kid trying to learn and make friends, but the others didn't see it that way. To them, Marcus was an outsider, someone different, someone to be pushed around. And because of the color of his skin, and because he kept his family secret, they saw him as weak. The first sign that things were getting worse was when Marcus's locker was vandalized. One morning he arrived early and walked to his locker to find it covered in graffiti. The words written there were ugly and hurtful. Slurs about his race, insults about his family, and threats that made his heart race with fear. Marcus stood frozen for a moment, unsure what to do. He wiped the tears from his eyes and quickly cleaned off the worst of it before class started, hoping no one would notice. But the bullying didn't stop at the locker. The next day, someone tripped Marcus in the hallway, causing him to fall hard and scrape his knees. When he got up, he heard laughter, not sympathy. He wanted to cry, but he held back the tears, just like he had learned to do at home. Marcus knew that showing weakness only gave the bullies more power. At school, Marcus noticed something else. Some teachers started to treat him differently too. Maybe they thought he didn't belong in such a prestigious school, or maybe they just didn't understand him. They gave him harder assignments or ignored his raised hand in class. One day his math teacher told him his work was not up to the standard in front of the whole class. Marcus felt embarrassed and small. Lily, the girl who had become his friend, noticed these things too. She saw how Marcus's smile was disappearing and how he was shrinking inside. But Lily wasn't the type to give up on people. She quietly stood by him, sitting next to him in class, sharing her notes, and encouraging him to keep going. She never asked Marcus to explain why he was sad. She just wanted him to know he wasn't alone. One afternoon during gym class, Marcus was pushed hard while running laps. He fell, and his knee was bleeding. The bullies laughed and called him names as he tried to get up. The gym teacher didn't see what happened, or maybe he chose not to. Marcus felt invisible, like no one cared if he got hurt. At home, Marcus was struggling to hide his pain. He covered his bruises with long sleeves, and when his parents asked if he was okay, he smiled and said yes, but Lorenzo and Rosa could tell something was wrong. Marcus was quieter than usual, and he spent more time alone in his room. Lorenzo tried to talk to him gently, but Marcus just shook his head. He didn't want to worry his parents or bring trouble to the family. Chase, the leader of the bullies, felt more powerful every day. He was used to getting whatever he wanted. His father was a big businessman who controlled many companies in the city, and Chase believed no one could stop him. To Chase, Marcus was an easy target, a boy who didn't fight back and seemed weak. One day, Chase went too far. He spread a false rumor about Marcus cheating on a test. The rumor spread quickly through the school. Marcus was called to the principal's office and questioned, without anyone listening to his side. The evidence was fake, but the school punished Marcus by suspending him for 3 days. Marcus felt shocked and humiliated. How could they believe lies about him and punish him without proof? When Marcus came home that day, he finally broke down. He couldn't hold the pain inside anymore. He told his parents everything: the bullying, the lies, the fear. For the first time, he didn't hide anything. Lorenzo listened carefully. His calm, strong face softened, and for a moment, the tough Mafia boss disappeared. He hugged Marcus tightly and promised he would protect him. He told Marcus that no matter what happened, he was not alone. The next day, things began to change, though Marcus didn't know it yet. Without saying much, Lorenzo made some calls to people in his world. The powerful families connected to the school and city suddenly started having problems. Chase's father faced legal troubles, some of his business deals were blocked, and rumors began to spread about his family's secrets. Chase and his friends grew nervous and confused. They didn't understand why their lives were suddenly difficult. At school, the bullies started to act differently. Chase still tried to show power, but there was fear behind his eyes now. The other boys whispered in the halls, wondering what had changed. Marcus noticed the change too, but he wasn't sure what it meant. He still felt scared, but a small hope was growing inside him. Marcus found new strength in himself. With Lily's support and the invisible protection his father arranged, he began to stand up quietly. He answered questions in class with confidence, and when Chase tried to insult him, Marcus didn't back down. Instead, he kept calm and walked away. Lily encouraged Marcus to speak out about bullying at school. Together, they talked to some teachers and students, sharing Marcus's story without revealing his family background. Many students listened and started to understand how serious bullying could be. Some bullies tried to apologize or at least stop bothering him. Marcus was still careful, but he felt less alone. He spent more time with Lily and a few other classmates who accepted him. He joined the school debate club, where his sharp mind and calm voice earned respect. For the first time, Marcus felt like he could be himself. At home, Lorenzo watched. His son grow stronger. He still worried, but he was proud. Marcus wasn't just surviving. He was fighting back in his own way. Lorenzo knew the world could be cruel, but he also knew his son had the courage to face it. Despite everything, Marcus never forgot the lessons his parents taught him. Stay humble, stay strong, and never lose kindness. Even when the bullies hurt him, Marcus didn't become angry or mean. Instead, he focused on being better, proving that his true power came from within. The school year was far from over, and Marcus knew challenges would come again. But now he had a secret weapon. Not just his family's power, but his own strength and friends who believed in him. Each day, Marcus woke up ready to face the world, knowing he was more than the bullying, more than the rumors. He was a boy, with a future, with dreams, and with a heart that refused to give up. Marcus had been holding his feelings inside for a long time, trying to keep everything under control. But after the incident when Chase accused him of cheating and he was suspended from school, something inside Marcus finally broke. It was like a dam holding back all his sadness, anger, and fear had burst. He couldn't keep pretending everything was fine anymore. When Marcus got home that day, he didn't say anything at first. He sat quietly in his room, staring at the walls but thinking about everything that had happened. His heart was heavy. He remembered how unfair it felt when the school punished him without listening to his side. How Chase and his friends laughed, while he was blamed for something he didn't do. And most of all, how alone he felt. His parents could see something was wrong. Rosa came to his room and gently sat beside him, asking if he wanted to talk. Marcus looked at her and finally, the words came out. He told her everything, about the bullying, the lies, the fear, and how the school didn't protect him. Rosa held him close, letting him cry. She told him it wasn't his fault, and that he was brave for speaking out. Then Marcus went to his father. Lorenzo was a man who didn't often show his emotions, but when Marcus told him everything, he listened, carefully. For a moment, the hard and powerful Mafia boss seemed just a father who loved his son deeply. He didn't shout or get angry. Instead, he promised Marcus that he would take care of everything and that no one would hurt him again. Lorenzo's promise wasn't just words. The next day, things started to change in ways Marcus didn't understand at first. Chase and his group, the same boys who had been so cruel to Marcus, began to feel pressure they couldn't explain. Their families, who had been powerful and untouchable, suddenly found themselves facing problems. Chase's father, a wealthy businessman, started to have troubles with his companies. Some contracts were canceled, and important deals were delayed or stopped. There were rumors of investigations into the family's businesses. At home, Chase noticed tension he had never seen before. His parents whispered late at night, worried about their future. Chase tried to ignore it, but he couldn't. At school, Chase and his friends were confused and scared. The same confidence they showed when bullying Marcus was replaced by nervous glances and quiet voices. Marcus saw the change, but didn't know what caused it. He just felt safer. One afternoon, Chase approached Marcus but didn't say anything mean. Instead, he looked around nervously and walked away. For Marcus, it was the first time he felt that the power had shifted. The boys who once ruled the school were no longer untouchable. With the bullying less intense, Marcus found new confidence. He started to speak up in class and stopped avoiding eye contact with his classmates. Lily was always there, encouraging him and cheering him on. Marcus joined the debate club where he surprised everyone with his sharp mind and calm speaking. His intelligence earned respect, and even some students who once ignored him started to listen. Despite the changes at school, Marcus remained cautious. He knew the bullying might start again. But he was ready to face it. He had learned that silence, and fear were not the answer. He would stand strong. At home, Lorenzo kept a close eye on everything. He didn't want Marcus's life to become dangerous or complicated, but he also wanted the bullies to learn that hurting his son had consequences. Lorenzo was careful, using his influence quietly. No one outside the family knew about his actions, but the message was clear. Marcus's parents also helped him in other ways. They encouraged him to make new friends and to focus on his studies. They wanted Marcus to have a life different from their own, a life where he could be proud and free. Marcus also started talking more with Lily about how he felt. She became not just a friend but a trusted support. They shared their dreams and fears. Lily wanted to be a writer one day, and Marcus dreamed of a future where he could help others who were bullied. School began to feel less like a battlefield and more like a place where Marcus could grow. He made a few more friends who accepted him for who he was, not for what his father did or how he looked. These friendships gave Marcus strength. Still, the memory of the bullying stayed with him. Some days were harder than others. There were moments when the fear and sadness returned. But Marcus learned to face these feelings. He talked to his parents and to Lily, and slowly, the pain began to fade. One day during a school assembly, Marcus was asked to speak about bullying. It was a chance to share his story, but without revealing the secrets about his family. Marcus spoke honestly about the pain bullying caused, about feeling alone, and about the importance of kindness and respect. His words touched many students and teachers. After the speech, several students thanked him and promised to stand against bullying. This was a turning point for Marcus. He realized that he didn't have to hide anymore. His voice mattered. He could be strong and kind at the same time. The boy who was once silent and afraid was becoming a leader in his own way. Home, Lorenzo and Rosa smiled with pride. They knew the road wasn't easy for Marcus, but they saw their son growing into a brave young man. Lorenzo still worried, but he also felt hope. Marcus was learning to take control of his own life, away from the shadows of the past. The city began to hear whispers about the boy who stood up to bullies and changed the school's atmosphere. No one knew the full story, but many admired Marcus's courage. He became a symbol for students who felt different or powerless. Marcus's journey was far from over. There would be new challenges, new battles to fight. But now, he was ready. He had the love of his family, the support of his friends, and a growing belief in himself. Marcus Moretti was no longer just a boy being bullied. He was a boy who was changing his own story. The months that followed brought new challenges and changes in Marcus Moretti's life. After the bullying had calmed down somewhat, Marcus found himself stepping into a new role he never expected, someone others looked up to. The boy who had once been silent and afraid was becoming a symbol of courage, kindness, and strength at school. But this new path was not easy. It required Marcus to face not only the challenges around him, but also the fears and doubts inside his own heart. With the bullying less intense, Marcus began to focus more on his schoolwork and activities. He had always been a good student, but now his determination grew even stronger. He wanted to prove, not only to the bullies, but to himself and everyone else, that he could succeed no matter what they said or did. He worked hard on his homework, projects, and exams. Teachers noticed the change in him, how he raised his hand more often, how he helped classmates who struggled, and how he spoke clearly and confidently. Despite these positive changes, Marcus still faced difficulties. Not all students accepted him, and some whispered behind his back. Some teachers remained distant or unfair. The pressure to fit in was still there, and Marcus felt it every day. But he kept reminding himself of what his parents had taught him. Strength comes from inside, and kindness is a true power. One important part of Marcus's new life was his friendship with Lily. She had become more than just a friend. She was his closest ally. Lily was the person Marcus could trust completely. They spent hours after school talking about their dreams, fears, and plans for the future. Lily wanted to become a writer, and Marcus dreamed of making a difference in the world. Together, they dreamed of a better school where no one would ever feel alone or scared. Lily helped Marcus find his voice beyond just schoolwork. She encouraged him to join the student council, where he could help create real changes in the school. Marcus was nervous at first. He had never been interested in politics or leadership, but he realized this was his chance to make a difference. With Lily's support, he ran for a position and was elected by his classmates. It was a big step for him, and it filled him with pride. In his new role, Marcus started organizing events to raise awareness about bullying and diversity. He worked with teachers and students to create programs where kids could talk openly about their experiences and support each other. Slowly, the school culture began to shift. More students started to stand against bullying, and kindness became more common. Marcus knew it was just the beginning, but he was proud of the progress. At home, Marcus felt the love and support of his parents stronger than ever. Lorenzo and Rosa were careful to protect him, but also encouraged his independence. Lorenzo, once a mysterious and distant figure, began to share more of his own past with Marcus, teaching him about strength, respect, and loyalty. He explained how every family has its struggles, but the important thing is how you face them. Rosa, with her gentle nature, helped Marcus find balance. She encouraged him to take breaks, enjoy simple things, and not carry the weight of the world on his shoulders. Family dinners became a time for laughter, stories, and support. Marcus felt safer and happier at home, knowing his parents were always there for him. However, life was not without new problems. Chase and his friends, though quieter, had not completely disappeared. They still whispered in the halls, and sometimes tried small acts of meanness. Marcus learned to handle these moments with calm and confidence. Instead of fighting, he chose to rise above. He knew that true power was in self-control, not violence. One day, an unexpected challenge came when Marcus discovered that a group of students were planning a harmful prank against one of his new friends, a younger boy who had recently joined the school and was also different from the majority. Marcus felt a surge of protectiveness. He remembered how it felt to be the target and decided he couldn't let it happen again. Marcus, with Lily and a few trusted classmates, worked quickly to stop the prank. They informed teachers and organized a meeting to talk about respect and kindness. The prank was canceled, and the students involved faced consequences. This incident became a turning point, showing the school that bullying and cruelty would not be tolerated anymore. Marcus also began to realize that his family's background, the Mafia connection, was something he could no longer hide forever. The secret weighed on him. He wanted to be honest with his friends, especially Lily, but feared their reaction. One evening, after a long talk with his father, Lorenzo gave Marcus advice. "You don't have to carry this secret alone. When the time is right, you will know how to share it. What matters most is the man you become, not where you come from." This conversation gave Marcus hope. He decided he would live by his own values and not be defined by his family's past. He promised himself to be honest when the time was right, and to never let fear stop him. School continued to improve slowly, but Marcus knew the journey was far from over. He faced challenges in balancing his schoolwork, leadership roles, and personal life. Sometimes the pressure was overwhelming. At times, he felt exhausted and lonely, but he kept moving forward. One day, a new student arrived at school. David, a boy with a quiet smile and a shy manner. David was also different in many ways, and he soon became friends with Marcus and Lily. Together, they formed a small group of students who supported each other, celebrated their differences, and worked to create a welcoming environment for everyone. Marcus found joy in these friendships. He learned that being different was not a weakness, but a strength. Together, they organized cultural events, art shows, and discussion groups that brought students from all backgrounds closer. The school was changing, and Marcus felt proud to be part of it. At home, Marcus shared his daily life with his parents. Lorenzo and Rosa listened to his stories, worries, and successes. They celebrated his achievements and comforted him in hard times. The family's love was a solid foundation for Marcus, giving him strength to face the outside world. One night, Marcus sat with his parents and Lily, talking about the future. He told them about his dreams, going to college, helping people who were bullied, and maybe even becoming a lawyer or counselor. Lorenzo smiled and said, "Whatever you choose, remember, you have the heart and mind to make a difference. We are proud of you." Marcus felt a warm feeling inside. For the first time, he believed in himself completely. He knew the road ahead would have bumps, but he was ready. With the love of his family and friends, and the courage he had found within, Marcus was no longer the boy who feared the bullies. He was a young man ready to create a better world. Though the Mafia connection in his family was still part of his story, Marcus understood that his future was his own to write. He would face the challenges, tell his truth when the time was right, and live with honor and kindness. In the end, Marcus Moretti's journey was about more than just surviving bullying or hiding secrets. It was about growing stronger through hardship, finding friendship and love, and becoming a beacon of hope for others. His story was a reminder that no matter where you come from, you can rise above fear and hatred to build a life filled with courage, kindness, and dreams. Marcus Moretti's journey was reaching a new stage. The boy who had once been bullied and afraid was now stepping confidently into his future. But this part of his story was about more than just personal growth. It was about understanding who he really was and deciding how to live with all the parts of his life, including his family's complex past. After years of fighting bullies, making friends, and proving himself at school, Marcus found a deeper strength inside. He understood that the challenges he faced had shaped him, but they did not define him. What mattered most was how he chose to move forward. The shadows of the past, his father's Mafia connections, the fears, the secrets, were still there, but Marcus knew he had the power to write his own story. As Marcus approached the end of high school, he thought carefully about his future. College was an important goal for him. He dreamed of studying law, hoping to help others who faced injustice and bullying, just like he did. He wanted to be a voice for the powerless and to fight for fairness. His experiences had shown him how important it was to have someone on your side when life seemed unfair. His parents supported his dreams. Lorenzo, once a man who lived in the shadows, now proudly spoke about Marcus's goals. Rosa encouraged him to follow his heart and believe in himself. They knew that Marcus's path would be different from their own, but they trusted him to make the right choices. At school, Marcus's leadership continued to grow. He became president of the student council, inspiring other students to stand up for kindness and respect. He worked with teachers and counselors to create programs that helped students deal with bullying and discrimination. Marcus wanted the school to be a safe place for everyone, no matter their background or skin color. One of Marcus's proudest moments came when the school held a special event called Unity Day. The whole school celebrated different cultures, stories, and talents. Marcus spoke to the students and teachers about his own experiences and the importance of understanding and accepting each other. His speech was honest and heartfelt, touching many hearts. Students who had once been bullies came forward to apologize and promised to change. Outside of school, Marcus's relationship with Lily and his other friends grew stronger. They shared laughs, dreams, and supported each other through hard times. Lily continued to be his closest friend and biggest supporter. Marcus knew he could trust her with anything. Their friendship was a source of joy and comfort, a reminder that even in a tough world, kindness and connection could shine through. However, Marcus also had to face some difficult moments. Not everyone was happy about the changes at school. Some families and students who had power and privilege didn't like that Marcus was becoming a leader. They whispered rumors and tried to bring him down. At times, Marcus felt the old fear creeping back. But this time, he was ready. He stood tall, supported by his friends and family. One day Marcus received an unexpected message, a warning from someone connected to the darker side of the city. It was a reminder that his family's past could still affect him. The message was unclear but felt threatening. Marcus showed it to Lorenzo, who immediately took action to protect his son. The warning was a sign that while Marcus was growing into a new life, the past could never be ignored completely. Lorenzo shared with Marcus a story from his own youth, about the dangers he had faced and the choices he had made to protect his family. He explained that while the past might follow them, it didn't have to control their future. Marcus listened carefully, understanding that courage wasn't about never being afraid, but about facing fears and moving forward anyway. With renewed determination, Marcus continued his work at school and prepared for college applications. He studied hard, wrote essays about his experiences, and applied to several universities with strong programs in law and social justice. He dreamed of using his education to make real change in the world. When college acceptance letters arrived, Marcus was overjoyed. He had been accepted into a university known for its commitment to social justice and diversity. It was a new beginning, a chance to build a future on his own terms. Before leaving for college, Marcus spent time reflecting with his family. They talked about the past, the present, and the future. Marcus knew he would face challenges in the new environment, but he felt ready. His family's love and his own hard-won strength would be with him. On his last day at home before leaving for college, Marcus walked through his old neighborhood one last time. He thought about the boy he had been, the boy who was bullied, afraid, and unsure. He smiled, knowing that boy had grown into someone strong, kind, and brave. At college, Marcus met people from all walks of life. He found new friends who accepted him for who he was. He joined clubs focused on social justice, diversity, and helping others. Marcus threw himself into his studies and volunteer work, eager to make a difference. Despite the distance from home, Marcus stayed close to his family. They spoke often, sharing stories and advice. Lorenzo and Rosa were proud but also missed their son. They knew he was ready for this next chapter. Marcus also began to think more about sharing his full story, the truth about his family background and the challenges he had faced. He wanted to be honest with the people in his life, but he was careful to choose the right time and place. He understood that his story was complex and that not everyone might understand it easily. Through his college years, Marcus grew even more confident. He volunteered with organizations helping bullied children and advocated for anti-discrimination laws. His personal experience gave him a powerful voice. Marcus knew that his life was not just about his past, but about the hope and change he could bring. In one of his final college projects, Marcus wrote about the power of resilience and kindness. He shared his own story of bullying, fear, and growth. The paper was praised by professors and inspired classmates. It was a moment of pride for Marcus, a sign that his struggles could help others. Marcus also began to consider a career that would combine his experiences and his passion for justice. Law school was next on his path, and he worked hard to prepare. He dreamed of becoming a lawyer who could defend the vulnerable and fight for fairness. Through all these years, Marcus never forgot the lessons from his parents. Lorenzo's strength and Rosa's kindness were always with him. Their love had given him the courage to face the world. Marcus's story was a reminder that no matter how hard life gets, we can choose to rise above fear and hate. We can find strength in kindness and hope in friendship. Marcus Moretti had turned his darkest days into a future full of light. His journey was far from over, but Marcus was ready to face whatever came next, with courage, honor, and a heart full of dreams.